A club team that continues to grow with every trip to the East Coast. We talked to a couple of members of the Wasatch Lacrosse Club, including the #2 goalie in the state, Park City's AJ Silinoff. Also, a youth baseball program that is getting kids ready for the next level. That's all coming up right now on the Scoreboard. Hey everyone, welcome into the Scoreboard. I'm your host, Blake O'Rulian. We've got a packed show for you. We sit down with one of the longest running and successful lacrosse clubs in the state of Utah. We learn about what they have been up to this summer, as well as why so many kids want to be a part of such a special team. But before all of that, right now our field reporter Brent Martindale took some time to check out the Rocky Mountain School of Baseball over in Heber Valley. Let's take a look.
Hey everybody, we're with Matt Barker, who is with the Rocky Mountain School of Baseball, here running the Firecracker Tournament in Heber City for many years. Matt, thank you for taking a minute with us today. So tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been doing this.
Well, I started with Rocky Mountain 10, 12 years ago as an umpire. The last 6, 7 years I'm a field supervisor, arbiter. So yeah, quite a long time.
So it's a lot of kids and a lot of years. Tell me a little bit, right now, how many teams and kids are we talking about this weekend?
So for this particular tournament, we have roughly about 180 teams, so 2,100 kids or so that are participating this weekend.
So with this, obviously brings a lot of people into this Wasatch County. What type of impact does that do with this type of thing in a city?
Yeah, I think it's great for everyone. We are here for this tournament, the Tournament of Champions, and the Pioneer Tournament. So Heber gets a lot of people coming in here to their stores and to their town. So I think it's good for everybody.
So the logistics of this, it's got to be huge. How many people are running how many different fields here in Wasatch County?
So we have Southfield, we have this East Park, and that's West Park going. We have games in Midway. We've years in high schools in Wasatch, Camas, Spanish Fork, Orem, Saratoga. So yeah, it's quite spread out. Championship day today. All the games are here in Heber, except for a couple high schools. Orem High and Timpanogos High are going for the older kids.
Tell us a little bit what you know of any local teams here in Heber City or Park City.
Well, this field today we have the Wasatch team playing, and I think they're in a tough one over here. I just did see that the 16U Wasatch team beat Timpanogos, so there's some local Wasatch teams that are doing really well this weekend for sure.
Once again, we're with Matt Barker. Thanks for taking a minute here at the Firecracker.
You betcha.
The #2 goalie in the state, a sophomore, a state champ. It is Park City's AJ Silinoff, who suits back up for the Miners in about 9 months. But what is he and all of these talented Miners doing during their time off? They're still playing lacrosse all over the country. I sat down with AJ, who is certain that he and the entire program will repeat next year. Hey everyone, right now we are hanging out with Park City goalie and also Wasatch Lacrosse goalie, AJ Silinoff. AJ, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us for a quick second.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we wanted to talk to you as the summer has gone on. You've stepped away from Park City Lacrosse just for a little bit, and you're now playing club lacrosse this summer. Who are you playing for, and what are you doing this summer?
So I'm playing for Wasatch LC this summer. Been really good experience. It's my first year on Wasatch, and the coaching has been excellent so far.
Yeah. What specifically, I know that this team is a little bit competitive to get on. What kind of, how difficult was it to get onto this team?
I went to tryouts, tried my best. There was some tough competition, but overall we made the team and just had to outplay the other goalies.
And then with this team, I know this team is really, really solid. You've had some really fun opportunities. Can you tell us a little bit about what's been going on this summer, where you've gone, and the opportunities you've had through this club?
So I've actually not played any tournaments with this team yet. I've just been busy, but the coaching and the goalie coaching is definitely top tier in the state. The coaches are really close with the players. The culture is really good, and the goalies all thrive in the coaching environment.
Yeah, and so the coaches are good, the program is really good, and you're going out to Delaware next week. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What are you going to be doing out there, and who are you going to be competing against?
So we are going to be competing against mostly East Coast teams, which is going to be really tough competition. East Coast, really big lacrosse community, but we're going to go out there, try our best, hopefully catch a few games in the process.
I know you haven't competed in any games, but what are some of the other goalies? What have they been talking about in terms of the competition? Obviously, when you go over to the East Coast, it's a little bit tougher competition. What have they been saying about the games and how they've been playing out?
So what I've heard is the goalies have played really good so far during the season or during the summer ball. But the competition is really tough. There's a lot of wide open looks, really hard shots. You know, those are the best of the best out there. But from what I've heard, the goalies are doing really good.
For you personally, what did you want to get out of this summer? How much are you trying to improve to get better for next spring?
So mostly I'm just trying to get better overall, up my game for the high school season, to be that new player during the high school season and be a new best.
Yeah, you got a lot of reps this past year as only a sophomore on the varsity team that ended up winning state. How much did you learn throughout this past season and also this summer?
Definitely coming off my freshman season, this sophomore season was definitely better. I've learned so much how to work as a team, how to lead the team, communicate with the defenders, and just overall keep my head in the game and have a good time.
The Park City team, as we transition over to that, lost a lot of defenders, a lot of different players and things like that. Who are you going to be missing the most, and do you think that there's players right now that can fill those shoes?
I'm going to miss Keller Hopkins. He is a standout player, one of my favorites to play with. He knows a ton. He has a very high lax IQ, can play defense better than most people I've seen. I'm going to definitely miss him.
Yeah. And are there any other players? I know there's also a teammate here on this club team in Tanner Crosby who's also on the starting squad for the Deep Holes. Is he one of those players that is really going to need to step up in these next couple of years as you guys move on and try to defend your state title? For
sure. We lost our LSM, Andrew Hunt. I'm hoping Tanner steps up. I know he will. He's been very good so far this summer and during the spring. So we're going to miss Andrew Hunt, but Tanner, I feel like he's going to step up into his shoes and play LSM.
Yeah. In terms of your lacrosse game, where would you like to see your own specific improvements? I know you mentioned that you want to improve overall, but where would you like to see specifically in your game? Would you like to make some changes?
Probably my mental game. When I get scored on a lot, like not a great game, I tend to get down on myself. I just need to start picking myself back up, stay in the games even though it's rough, and also clearing. That can be better overall.
Winning state, being on this club, what are some of the preparations that you have? What are some things that you're going to be doing? This is your last practice here today for the club team. You're going to be playing in the fall, I would assume, with this club team as well. From here until September, October time, what are you going to be doing to improve your game?
Working out in the gym, and summer ball is a great time to reset your mind, have fun with lacrosse. And then going into spring lacrosse with high school, you have to keep that same mentality. Lacrosse is a game and you're meant to have fun, but compete, have fun, and be the best you can be.
Has it been kind of eye-opening to play with this team and to play against what people have been saying is tougher competition? I know you haven't been to any of those East Coast, in any of those East Coast tournaments, but from what you've heard, what do you feel Utah lacrosse can do to improve? Is it just timing? Is it just more time in the game as it is a new sport here in the state?
Yes, definitely. Lacrosse in the past few years have picked up tremendously. There's tons of new star players in Utah getting national attention. I think over the years, Utah lacrosse will be top of the board.
Yeah. And with that all being said, next year, who is can you give us one name of a player that we might not know for Park City TV, who we've covered that might surprise everyone this next year on the lacrosse team for Park City?
Patrick Shady. He has been on a steady incline for a while, and he's gotten very good, and he's an excellent defender, and I feel like you have to watch out for him next year.
Is he going to be starting?
He is going to be starting.
Obviously, the goalie is probably the most respected, the most important position in all of lacrosse. You were a sophomore last year. You're going to be a junior. where do you want to see your leadership grow, or is your leadership going to have to change as you become an upperclassman for this team?
Yes, my leadership is definitely going to have to change. Last year I was more, kind of an underclassman, so you kind of have to let the upperclassmen do their thing and you just kind of stand back. But being an upperclassman, you're going to have to teach the underclassmen how to play lacrosse, how to communicate. I'm going to be more of a loud player on the field, definitely. And I'll probably get some more respect as an upperclassman and teach those lowerclassmen how to become a Park City lacrosse player.
And not only that, but be a part of the state champion, the state defending team. And so is there any pressure on you, on the entire team? Do you know that you need to come into this next season and really bring it, because you do have a lot of returners, but you did lose some key players?
Yes, definitely. We are looking to the season for another state championship. We do have a bit of pressure, but our team does really well under pressure. We're just going to come in, do our best, and hopefully get a state championship.
How many of the players are doing summer lacrosse, playing on different club teams all over the country? I know that Chase is playing on a team out of state. There's a whole lot of different players, but do you know how many are really trying to work on their game in order to defend that state title next year?
Every single one of us.
Yeah. And so that all being said, do you think that this team is going to come back stronger, mentally tougher, a better team? And do you think you're maybe going to be playing Olympus again next year?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Olympus lost a lot of key players, but we have lost our fair share of them. But we have a fairly young team, and we're going to grow. We're going to keep having that team mentality, and we're going to come back and win it.
When are you guys going to start practicing and stuff like that? I'm sure it's pretty far away, but still.
Yeah. So we practice around right as school starts, so like end of August around, that's when we start fall lacrosse, a lot of conditioning, footwork, stuff like that, and then spring lacrosse comes in later in the year.
AJ Silinoff, one of the best goalies in the entire state, a state champion as well. Congratulations and good luck on the future. Thank you.
Welcome back into the Scoreboard. We are going to move over from a player to a coach. It is Danny Larkin and his twin brother, along with a handful of other coaches who created the Wasatch Lacrosse Club 10 years ago. And 10 years later, they're arguably the most respected club out of Utah. With trips to the East Coast all year long, Danny and the whole club has created a landing spot for lacrosse players looking to go to the next level.
Hey everyone, right now we are hanging out with one of the coaches over at Wasatch Lacrosse Club, and Danny Larkin. Danny, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Yeah, hey, welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we appreciate it. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about how this season is going. You actually have one of the most popular lacrosse clubs, one of the highly touted lacrosse clubs across the entire state of Utah. Can you tell us a little bit about how this club got started and when it started?
Yeah, so it started in 2012, back pretty much right after I got out of college, and me and my twin brother Ricky and my friend Adam we went to college with in Pennsylvania, we decided to start this team and really wanted to help kids from Utah get the opportunity to go play at a really high level and get the opportunity to get seen by college coaches. And that's why we started the team, and really taking kids from Utah to the East Coast, play against the best competition possible.
And 10 years in now, and you've got, again, one of the most respected teams. We were there for tryouts just a couple of months ago. Every kid wanted to be on this team, it seemed like. And now we're finishing up this summer season. How have things gone, and how much have you learned this year, I guess I should say?
So it's been a huge learning experience this summer. Our teams have gotten matched up against, honestly, some of the top teams in the country, literally. And it's been a good learning experience. I think our team's been playing really well. And we have a lot of room for improvement. But, our team is really close to getting there, to knocking off some of the top teams in the country. So we're there, but, just a little bit more work, and we're going to beat some really good teams.
And one of the most impressive things about that is you go over to the East Coast. And the East Coast, to those who might not know, that's the world of lacrosse is over there on the East Coast. That's where people have been playing lacrosse their entire lives. And Utah, it's still a pretty new sport. So to be able to see Utah lacrosse continue to grow is probably something special to you.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Since the time we have been going to the East Coast, it's been 10 years about now, and the first time we played on the East Coast, we lost 20-0 in our first game. So the growth from then to now, players in Utah can actually hang at that level, and with sanctioning, it's definitely getting a lot better. So
you've got a lot of defensive stars, I would say, on this team. A lot of people have been mentioning those types of players. Who are some of the names that think could possibly be playing at that next level?
So we have a lot of good defenders on our team. Fierce Miller, he's one of our juniors. He's one of our top guys. His brother plays in college right now, and then we have a bunch of guys who are going to be juniors next year. Tanner Crosby from Park City. We got Gray Peterson from Olympus High. We got Drew Tanner from Alta. CJ Campbell from Northridge. A lot of really good players. Elliot Peterson from Waterford. So honestly, a lot of good players down there. Our goalies are really good. Some of the top goalies in the state. Anton Goodick from Skyline. AJ Silianoff from Park City. Caleb Johnson from Olympus. So a lot of really good talent down there.
Lots of really good talent, and I think one of the most interesting things about your club is you're always talking about players who are uncommitted. You're trying to get these players college scholarships, college opportunities to play at the next level. Is that kind of the goal of this club, is to make sure that these kids have somewhere to play after high school?
Yeah, that's the goal. All the tournaments we go to are high-level recruiting tournaments. We were in Delaware last week, and all the games we were playing were lined with college coaches, and that's what we're setting up our kids for, is ideally get the college looks and get scholarships, and hopefully don't have to pay for college.
One of the big things I wanted to ask you about was from 2012, when this whole thing started, to now. Where have you seen the greatest evolution, and do you see a huge evolution? I mean, from players when, the sport is just starting out here in the state to now 10 years in, is the sport getting better here? Are players getting better? Are they getting smarter?
I would say it's getting better because it's growing. A lot more high schools now have teams that didn't have teams when we first started the club. We used to have a lot of players just from the Salt Lake Valley, and now it's more all over the state. So it's really grown in terms of that, and with the growth, that's that many more better players are playing the game in Utah.
I always ask this to coaches who seem to care so much, who have been around for a long time. Why do you keep doing this? What is it about this that makes you want to keep coming back?
I just love the sport. I've also been doing it since I was a little kid, and seeing players get to pursue the goals that I got to do when I was, going to college and in high school. It's just awesome to help players get there, and it's a fun job for me if you want to call it a job. So yeah.
What would you say is the most rewarding part of this? I know you mentioned seeing them get better, but what specifically is the most rewarding part?
Yeah, honestly, I would say helping players go to college, because if I can help guide someone to a school that's outside of Utah or even inside of Utah that they didn't know they could go there, that's really, that's a payoff for me. So it's like seeing the smile on their face, say, hey, you helped me get to somewhere. That's like the huge payoff for us.
Have you been able to see some of these Utah players go far, and have they been able to play under you, and you've been able to watch them go play maybe D2, D1 college lacrosse?
Yeah, so one of our very first players on our first team, his name's Casey Rose. He graduated from Corner Canyon, played at Rutgers University. He's a 4-year starter, captain there. And then all the way down to, we've had kids play D2, D3. One of our former players that just graduated 2 years ago plays at the University of Utah now. He's a defender, so he plays D1 there. And yeah, we've kind of had some D1 guys, mostly D2. A lot of our coaches currently play D2 out on the East Coast. So yeah, it's more D2, D3, but a lot of high-level players now.
And I wanted to ask you, where did you specifically play? What is your lacrosse background? I probably should have started with that, but.
Yeah, so I grew up in Utah, and I started playing when I was 10 years old in 1997, and on one of the first youth teams ever in Utah. And that's how I got started. My older brother was on the first ever team at Olympus High School, and then I started playing, and me and my twin brother just have loved it, and we kind of knew when we were in junior high we really wanted to play in college on the East Coast, and that's what really helped us pursue the goal of playing out there. And then, I got recruited to play in Pennsylvania, and that's how I met one of my other coaches, Adam Edinger. We went to college together out in Pennsylvania and finished up at Westminster. So it's been quite the ride, but I just love doing it, and this is like my passion. So
as much as these players are important, obviously the coaching staff is important too. How much do they mean to you, considering you've been with them for so many years now?
Yeah, the coaching staff, some of my best friends, Adam, he's been on the staff since the beginning, and some of these other guys, they played for us when they were sophomores all the way up through seniors in high school. Now they're out of college, now coming back to coach with us. So it's really kind of cool to see the full circle of players that played in the program. Now they're helping to come back and coach again.
Well, Danny Larkin, a special coach here in the entire state of Utah, I should say, but he also hosts some Park City kids as well. Yeah. So we really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching tonight's installment of The Scoreboard. Now, if you have missed an episode, are not sure which episode you or a loved one might have been on, well, we have solved that issue for you. If you go to thescoreboardnation.com, you will be directed to a new homepage where you can scroll through the bottom, click on Park City's version of The Scoreboard on the left-hand side. After that, you will be able to see who is on the episode in the thumbnail. Make sure to check out The Scoreboard on Friday. We have another star-studded show. We finish up our conversation with UFC welterweight Phil Rowe, who was so gracious with his time.
It seems like fighting isn't the only thing in your life. It seems like life means a lot more to you. There's bigger things in this world, which some people don't really have. Do you think that that's a fair statement? Do you feel like there's more to life than just getting your hand raised in the octagon?
That means the UFC means absolutely nothing. It's very minuscule, it's very trivial, it's a very small fraction of life. This is gonna go by like this. There's so much more that matters, you know? My mom is battling cancer, 2 forms of cancer. It makes me realize how trivial this is. I'll be okay, you know what I mean? Like, my mom is dealing with radiation and chemo at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, that's real. I choose to do this. These guys again from the camera said, this is for my mom, this is for my what? Stop. No, this is for you. And you better figure that out quick because you're gonna hit a roadblock. Because if I stopped doing this today, my mother would still love me, my daughter would still love me, my wife would still love me. So I'm not doing this for nobody but myself. This is a very small window, and I'm here to do the best I can to capitalize off this position, to put myself and my family in a better position. But is this the end all? God, no.
One last question from me. You mentioned your mother, who I actually wanted to check up on after we turned off the cameras. Your wife, your daughter, how much do they mean to you, and how much have they helped you in your fighting career? How much have they held you down?
A lot, you know. My family, my mom doesn't really, she doesn't dabble in this stuff too much, but she knows what I do. And if I was a garbage man, if I was an astronaut, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? She'd be there. So she's just cool, proud, and happy to see me on TV, you know? My wife's a dentist. She does really well. She has a practice. My daughter loves me to death. So all this stuff, I have a good life out of here, you know? And this is something that I'm doing for me, you know? My whole life, I saw the angle, and I always took the angle. You know, I always did just enough to get by. You know, I could always talk my way and finesse my way into things. And what passed me by was basketball, my blessing. And this was hard. There's no angle to take. There was no way to finesse this. And I feel like God chose this path for me to make me become a better human being, to equip me mentally for my life. You know, like, I deal with a lot, you know, and the mental fortitude it takes to deal with what I go through. I think MMA and the hardships and adversity that I faced in this, that I didn't face in basketball, that I didn't face in other areas of my life, helps equip me for those times. So I think this is a small portion of my life that God has a plan for me, and he has me doing this to catapult me into something else.
And we also sit down with some athletes from Ukraine who are staying with UOP for the summer. You won't want to miss it. For Brent Martindale, I am Blake O'Rourke, and we will see you all on Friday.